Unrecorded Voices, a pioneering initiative where art, history and artificial intelligence converge. 12 visionary South African creatives embark on a groundbreaking journey to reimagine the past, harnessing cutting-edge AI technology to shed light on unrecorded and marginalized histories. Through a dynamic fusion of creativity and innovation, these artists will explore the untold stories of South Africa's rich cultural heritage, giving voice to the silenced and visibility to the invisible. For more on this, we're joined virtually by Lauren Fletcher, the French Institute of SA Audiovisual Project Manager. Lauren, very good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning, Zimpiwe. So happy to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, what inspired the French Institute of South Africa to launch the Unrecorded Voices program, and what's that about?
So there's a global initiative called November Numeric, or just Digital November in English, headed up by Institut Français in Paris. And it's about a digital celebration of the month of November. There are 65 countries participating around the world, South Africa being one of them. And at the French Institute of South Africa, we know that AI is the latest tool that is here. It's here to stay. And we wanted to use this tool to work with local creatives and advance their skills a little bit and see how they can tell history in a new and exciting way using tech to do this.
And how does this program then align with the Institute's overall mission and objectives?
So we are partnering with a French collective called U2P50, who works in AI. They are an amazing collective that is made up of philosophers, digital artists, and technologists. And they are hosting workshops with our 12 local creatives to train them in the latest AI tools and connect our South African experts with our French experts. And of course, another aspect that the French Institute does is to look at how can we build capacity within the creative industries of South Africa and platform our creatives as much as possible.
Right. And can you walk us through the selection process for the 12 South African creatives participating in Unrecorded Voices?
Yeah, so we did an open call because we really wanted to make sure that as many diverse voices as possible across South Africa were included. We had 80 applications, and through that we had a panel selection to select the top 12. And through there, we selected creatives that have a focus on technology as well as a strong cultural background. And we are so excited about the 12 selected because they come from a broad background of different skills, from architecture, we have digital artists, I just hit a blank. Technologists. So we are very excited about that.
Lauren, how will the AI technology then be integrated into the artistic process? So
part of these workshops that the artists are going to as well is to look at the ethics. So how do we use AI in an interesting way to tell our different stories? So they will be recreating different historical events that are relevant to them, so their own narratives and histories, using this idea of the synthetic archive. So when we think about history, often we think of it as this fixed element, but from our archives, they're representing very often one specific viewpoint, where we know that there are many, many viewpoints in history. So how can we use this tech to retell these different stories from new angles? We can use AI to have people speaking, telling their own stories of these historical figures. So we're very excited to see how we can use tech and history in a cultural way to tell these new stories.
Right. And what sort of critical perspectives, or theories inform the development of AI-generated historical content?
Yeah, that's a difficult one because there are a lot of people working in the technological field and the philosophical field. We can go back to all of philosophy. How do we see ourselves within the world? How do we see the role of technology in the world? How does that role of technology change the way that we see ourselves within the world as well? So we're relying on U2P50 quite a lot to bring in that philosophical understanding because they have done a lot of the research within the space as well.
And speaking of research, how can AI-enhanced historical research then address the issues of representation, diversity, and inclusivity?
So we want to make sure that all of the stories that we are telling are underpinned by strong historical research. So we do have researchers that are part of our program as well, which we are very happy about. And so they will come in. We make sure that all of our histories are looking at the nuances. As I said, we have artists from a whole range of backgrounds, so these stories will be relevant to them and their histories as well, which we think is quite important. And then we use AI to sort of push those narratives a little bit more and hopefully come up with something really interesting.
And what are the implications of AI-generated content for our own understanding of historical truth?
So I think it kind of comes back to the point that history is not fixed. We all have different views of how these stories are told. And yeah, I mean, AI is this new tool that really helps us to question some of these stories and retell some of these stories. Yeah.
All right, Lauren, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.